We had another tough weekend. Played another good team, but we also are playing against ourselves right now too. So we've got to do a better job there. This week we'll have 2 good days to practice without having a midweek game. We'll try to throw some of these young arms, put them in some drills and things that we like doing on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll travel out on Thursday. We'll play another good team. This team can score runs. They in a ballpark that's conducive to score runs. So it'll be more important than ever to, again, wish I could come in here and say something different to you, but to pitch away from the 3-run inning. I mean, that's been the thing that hurt us in the second half. Again, walks. Our walks came down to 1 on Saturday, and the score came down. But we were not fortunate enough to win that game. Our guys did a good job at Southern Miss in a midweek game of scored enough runs to win. Back into our bullpen, let the game get turned around. Started with a walk and a hit batter. The first game that they scored big on us, Texas State, I thought our hitters did a great job of coming back and getting it within 1. Then I think at one time, and then from there we walked the leadoff hitter in the 9th inning, and they sack, and all of a sudden they've got a double, a guy standing at second base, and then again we let the inning get away from us, another 3-run inning. So those are the things that are just clearly our issue, and if we don't solve it, it's going to be tough to win a game, because the blueprint of winning a game is to stay away from the 3-run inning. This weekend, I feel good where our hitters are at. We do have to do one thing, I think, a little better when we get close. We've got to get that last critical hit to go ahead, or to tie the game, one of the two. We get very close, and then we can't pull ahead. On the other hand, the pitchers have the bullpen, and the pitchers have really sucked the life out of our hitters, because they're always constantly coming from behind, and we haven't been a good come-from-behind team. We can come up and catch you and get close, but then we can't crawl over that last, like I said, that last critical hit. So we got 9 left. We got 3 tough ones this weekend. These guys can score runs, but they've also given up some runs, and so I think that's the big key for us. We got to stay swinging the bat good, got to stay playing good defense like we have, and we just got to pitch against the 3-run inning. I hate to sound like a broken record, but when we were successful, we pitched away from the 3-run inning. We've been very fortunate over the years to stay consistent. If you look at the last 12, 13 years, we've been either first in the league in pitching or second, 12, 13 years in running, and now we're 7th or 8th in the league in pitching. And that's been the thing that's really hurt us, inconsistency. With the injuries, Bradford out, Gunner out, it's even added more stress onto that pitching staff, and it's showing. But the one thing we've got to try to do is just try not to break, to get back out there and stay focused on the process. The process is really simple. It's to stay away from the 3-run inning. So that's what we have to do to be successful.
How important is just putting zeros on the board after you guys score runs? You mentioned your offense is always coming from behind. So how important is just after you guys, in a game, put some runs on the board, just get a zero that next inning?
Well, it's huge. They call that a hold, and the minor league baseball. When you're in minor league baseball, I know from when Austin was there, they track holds, and holds are important, very important. They lead to winning when you can score and go hold. Our biggest thing is we've given some runs up in big innings, then we come back and score. This team has done a good job of hitting through the middle innings of a game. The big key for us is we've got to pitch long enough to let them settle in the middle innings. And what we have a tendency to do is give up big runs early, and then now when they start to score, it's catch up. But the markers I look for, if you look at a team like us and see that record, the markers that you go to look for is what's your batting average with runners in scoring position. Ours is not very good. Look what your batting average is with 2 outs. Ours is not very good. And so we have a tendency to score runs and leave a lot of runners stranded at the same time. So technically there's more runs in there if we get that last critical hit to just go ahead in the game. And if our pitchers don't get them under so much duress to where you suck 8 runs out of them, when you get 8 runs in a game, that's usually enough to win. It's been here for a long time because we've been able to have an ERA at 3. We'll do the math, But right now, our ERA is almost 5 in innings 1 through 6 and over 5 after the 7th inning. That puts a lot of pressure on to hitters. So holds are very important, very important. That's what good pitchers do. When you score, they go back out the next inning and they put up a hold.
So how do you have a sense of urgency, but also not have like the world come to an end?
Well, it's a balance. You got to stay focused with them and their understanding that baseball's a tough game because even at the big league level, you look last night, I don't know if the Astros finished off the Indians. I was watching part of it, but they had a three-run jack. Well, 3-run homer, right? I mean, 3-run jack. So 3-run inning. So, you first of all, you can't run from the 3-run inning. You've got to learn how to pitch underneath it. And if you look, anytime our record's been good, if you look at the amount of 3-run innings we've given up, they're minimal. If you look at when the record's bad, watch how many 3-run innings you've given up. And to me, my definition of a 3-run inning is anything over 3 or more. Doesn't matter if it's a 5, a 7, a 6, a 9. Really doesn't matter. It's the 3-run inning. That's I'm telling you, that if you track it long enough, like I've done for 30 years, it's just amazing. And so what you got to do is stay focused on the process. The pitchers have to stay focused on the process of staying away from the 3-run inning. You can talk about it so much after a while that you wait for it to show up. And we've created that too, right? If you look at the scouting report, one of the teams a while back accidentally left their scouting report in the dugout, and it's clear. It says their starters are going to pitch well, but, their bullpen is shaky. So, when you put that MO out on yourself, teams will wait you out. And so the game will always give you what you don't want, and it'll keep giving it to you. Like if a guy doesn't really want to hit with the bases loaded, watch how many times in the game he comes up with the bases loaded. I mean, if you don't throw well past the 7th inning, watch how many times we're either close or winning, after the 7th. It's going to keep giving you what you don't want until you learn how to slay it. And that's why this game is tough, because in baseball you win a third, but you're going to lose a third, no matter how good you are. So I've said this before, Major League Baseball team that wins the World Series this year will probably have over 50 losses. So they're going to go to bed 50 nights a loser. But they're the best at what they do. They're the best at what they do is because what they do with the other third. And what you got to be careful in this business is you're going to lose a third, which is roughly about 15 to 18 games. So the College World Series team is probably going to have 15 losses, more than likely. We'll see. But you're going to lose almost a third of your games in this business. So you spend a lot of time losing, and you also spend a lot of time failing because hitters fail 70% of the time. So you have to be able to get yourself through this, through the mental toughness part of this. And that's what you have to try to keep preaching, is to stay holding on, because the only guarantee is if you quit, it's over. I mean, that's a guarantee. But if you fix the 3-run inning, you have a chance. You have a chance. But that's the thing we have to do is fix the 3-run inning.
Do you can you at this point in the year just have a goal of making the conference tournament? I mean, that's something to.
Well, I think what you have to do each year is you start out with your goal, and then you have to readjust your goal according to the team you have, right? I mean, everybody wants to get to Omaha, but only 8 are gonna. Well, if you stay just on Omaha, and sooner or later you get throughout the season, you don't think you can get to Omaha, well, then you quit because you can't get to your goal. So yeah, I think you have to always adjust everything according to who you are. Do I hate doing that? Yes, but if you don't, you can't get to your tournament. So if we don't fix the 3-run inning, then it's going to be very hard because you're playing another good team this weekend that you have to try to pitch against a 3-run inning, and you got to stay away from letting a inning spin out of control. We got Southern Miss beat on the road. They're the best team in their conference right now. UTA, when we had them over there, I think they were tied for first. We had them beat on Friday night with a 3 or 4 run lead. I mean, you're a lot better team when you stay away from the 3-run inning. But the problem we're having is when the inning spins out of control, we don't have enough veterans that can get in there. We're moving up Perrin now to help us in the pen, but then it puts you vulnerable on Sunday. So it's a very difficult situation. The hitters, we keep preaching them to hang on like we did at the front of the season and told the pitchers to stay doing your job, that the hitters will eventually do theirs. Now they're doing theirs. So now the roles reversed. We're trying to get the hitters to stay put, not get the life sucked out of you. Hang in there. And it just comes back to why the Patriots are so good, because their whole slogan is just do your job. And there are times that the pitchers are not just doing their job. You can't come out to start a game on a Sunday and walk 3 and 4 people in the first inning.
Are you better off on the road right now?
I don't know. I know we swung the bat better on the road earlier, and then we settled in and we started scoring here too. I haven't looked at our pitching numbers on the road versus home. I know at first we were struggling to score runs on the road, and then we started doing that well. Then we came back home, started to score runs well, but I haven't looked at it to see.
Mindset wise and kind of team us against the world, kind of on the road. I mean, where you are mentally as a team right now. Is it
Well, I think so. I mean, I know going on the road just takes a lot of distractions out. They together. It's a little easier sometimes to stay focused because you don't have distractions. But we're not worried to go on the road. That's a good thing. I feel and sense that with the team. I've had some teams in some years where when you were going on the road, you felt like it was a struggle. I don't feel that when we go on the road. Now we're going to play a good team, but I don't feel that or sense that with our team. I don't think they're going to quit. I think internally they're being stressed over all the injuries and Gunnar not being able to pitch and Bradford being out and the pitchers that are running from the strike zone. I mean, I think they've been stressed a lot. So sometimes when you have that stress on you, sometimes it is good to get up, get out, and go play on the road. So, we'll see. I'm just glad that we're a team that doesn't feel like they can't win on the road. They believe they can win on the road. They played well at LSU. And that's the Jekyll and Hyde of everything. You start a true freshman, well, redshirt freshman, but had not thrown any innings at LSU. And then you come in with a freshman and you finish with a sophomore in front of 10,000 people. But then you start the same freshman a couple days later and, he walks 3 to 4 people in an inning. So that's what inexperience does. I remember when Jack Burke was a freshman and we redshirted him, he walked a ton of people. We used to put him in these drills with strings and a box up to throw everything in the box because he was running from the strike zone. And then now he can come out and pitch a game and only walk one guy. But that's experience. And there's a price you pay for experience. Development can be ugly. And you have to back it with something, with hitting. And at the beginning of the year, we didn't swing the bat well. But even to start out the season, we had a chance to walk off Texas on Friday and Saturday and just couldn't get the critical hit. And that's kind of stuck with us, throughout the year. We can catch up, but then we can't really go grab somebody and climb over the top of them. But we're going to have to do that this weekend, and the pitchers are going to have to step up and pitch for us to be successful down there. He got going. I think that at the start of it, that sophomore year, everybody always wants to label it a sophomore jinx. But I think what happens in your sophomore years after good freshman years is that they start to run the numbers on you. You start to look at rookies at the big league level. They'll do really good at first, then they'll kind of catch them you know, and then all of a sudden, because they're very good, they'll get through it. They'll counter adjust, and I think that's what Hayden's got the ability to do. He's got the ability to counter adjust, and I think that's what makes him such a good player, and it'll make him such a good player down the stretch is that he can counter adjust, and I think he got it started slow at first, and then started making adjustments along the way, and so I think that's his gift. He's got the ability to counter adjust. He's very smart. And he's got the body control and the giftedness to be able to make adjustments. And I think that's what makes him good.
What's so good about Coastal Carolina's lineup? I mean, they put up 27 runs on Friday. So just from what you've seen, what's dangerous about the lineup?
Well, they have sometimes it's like us, for 13, 14 years, we were either first or second in the league in pitching because we got this label that we can pitch. And so for years, we've kind of struggled as hitters from time to time. They've had a big label that they can hit, and I think they can hit. And they're in a ballpark that is conducive for run production. Their pitchers are struggling a little bit. They don't always hold people down, but you can counteract that with that kind of scoring. What you got to watch out for is the higher you go up, though, into postseason play, the regional, the super regional, scoring is going to always come down. And so now the premium on pitching is going to be important. And if you look at a lot of those guys that are left standing in Omaha, they're running dudes up onto that hill, and they're running dudes out of that bullpen. And that's kind of, you look at Florida, the last couple of years with all those arms. I mean, pitching's like cash, man. You can fake like you got it, but eventually you're gonna have to put up or shut up. And that's the one thing that's hurt us. People used to holler all the time. We pitch. Robichaux doesn't recruit hitters because he pitches when I don't even recruit anybody. I mean, my recruiting coordinators recruit everybody. But over time, so now you get a little sneak peek at what happens when you don't pitch. So I think everybody will understand the importance of going back to pitching, because if you don't pitch, I mean, even at the big league level, you look at the teams that are struggling, a lot of them starting pitching, or some of them are crying because of their bullpens already, and they're not even halfway through the season. So pitching's a premium, man. You got to pitch, and that's what we're going to have to do this weekend to be successful, because these guys think they can hit.
What do you think's been going on with Gunner? Surgery not go right? Was he pushed too hard, too fast?
No, I think he's a guy that pushes himself hard, and I think what he went through with the two surgeries. The first one's probably, I say, easy in the realm of some type of Tommy John. But then when you have the second one, with the leg, I think you add all that up. I think, and then you add him up, right? He's a guy that he wants to be in. He wants to be in the fire. He wants to carry his team. That's why he came to us and said, "Hey, let me close," because right now I see that I'm pushing myself too hard. So let me back up. If I can only give you 2 innings a weekend, why do that as a starter? Let me get in there and close for you. And then so we put him in at closer, and then from there, I think he came back and we all talked it out a little bit, and he felt that, what, man, I've pushed myself so hard, so fast, that I think it's just taxing on me. And so I think I need to back up a little bit. So you have to do what's in a kid's best interest. He's very mature. We've always allowed him to make, not just him, any of the players I've had throughout the years that have been mature enough, not some freshmen, to be able to make decisions on how they feel and what they need to do to be good. He potentially has a career after this too, but if he's not careful, he could potentially hurt that too. He's not backing out to save himself for pro ball. He's pulled back because for his safety, for his own body. And so because of that, we have been patient with him to be able to let him make those decisions, and he's going to go from weekend to weekend and on how he feels, and we'll just see. Yeah, yeah, it'll be late. Yes. So, and if it is good, if it isn't, I think that knocked some wind out of our sails when UTA beat him that night, because I think everybody saw that, here's our answer maybe to plug up the hole in the boat for the closer role, and then all of a sudden, that spun, and then we had to back him up. And then they found out that he might not throw this weekend, and we got to check weekend to weekend with him. And he's got such a good, all great teams have one or two guys that what I call are their guys. I mean, it was like LSU a couple years ago with Kramer Robinson. If you let him get on base, it looked like things spun out of control. So he was kind of like their energy guy, or Bregman, or all the people that have great teams, the teams we've had here with Gunner on Friday night. He just makes you and everybody in the stands believe that you got a shot. And then now when he's not eating up innings for you, and then Bradford's out on the back of the pen with the UCL, what that does now, it just puts more stress. Really, all it does, it puts more stressors on to the bullpen. You have to start taking Perrin now, bring him up to plug that hole up, but then you got another hole that pops up on Sunday. So it's not his fault. It's what it creates because he can't do what he wants to do. And believe me, nobody wants to be out there more than him. But it is what it is, and we have to move forward. Guys have to just step up and fill those holes, and that's the bottom line.